Hello and welcome back to MIA Luxury Cars. In today's video, we will be talking about the 6 supercars that are becoming cheaper in value. Let's get started. Mercedes-Benz AMG GT. It's the replacement for the Gullwing Door SLS AMG. Now, the AMG GT went on sale in 2016 and Mercedes decided to give us a bunch of different models. So many that it's kind of hard to keep track about. But a couple of key ones are the entry-level AMG GT, which is pretty civil but still in your face of cool. And then you got the monster truck. The truck annihilating AMG GT-R, which you shouldn't mistake with a Nissan GT-R. And then of course, there's a couple of other models, which just sprinkled in between. This is the brand's flagship coupe and it gets a 4-liter twin turbosky V8 and that motor is pumping out anywhere from 429 to 630 blistering horsepower, depending on the model of course. And no matter which flavor you pick, you get the gorgeous Grand Tour styling. And like other AMG performance models, the GT comes in both coupe and road monster. And not only does this thing drive really well, that symphony that it pumps out of those 2 big holes in the back is one hell of a sonata. And remember, we're talking about the high-powered supercars here, and so they're actually pretty reliable. And the AMG GT has already fallen out a cliff. Well, depreciation clip that is, and you can find decent examples online for half the original MSRP. Yes, a well-kept AMG GT or GTS can be had for roughly 75,000 bucks, and that's without looking too hard. And if you want the creme de la creme, well, you could find one for under 100 grand. And yes, it's 6 figures and it's not cheap, but when you consider that these things go over $160,000 brand new, that's one hell of an ideal bargain. Okay, maybe not an absolute bargain, but if you have the budget to spend that kind of money, it's way cheaper than buying one brand new and losing all of the money on our friend depreciation. Although with all of that being said, they haven't stopped dropping yet, so it might not be the perfect time to buy one, and that's partly due to the fact that they're still in production and they're virtually uncharged as well, as Mercedes made quite a few of them, so they're not really all that rare. And out of all the models, it's probably the most depreciation proof, so not only is it a legit choice, but it's a smart one. Aston Martin DB11. Aston Martin DB11 has a license to kill you on its horrifying depreciation. And why does the Aston Martin DB11 make it on this list? It's because of automatic examples of the DB9, and the Vantage produced from 2004 to 15 are any indication that all the DB11 is about to become downright affordable. But the key here is that there is no manual 6-speed available. The DB11 came with either a V8 or a V12, and this thing absolutely steers the soul because you get 503 horsepower out of that 4-liter V8. Or if you opt for a naturally aspirated V12, 630 horses, and that's coupled with the absolutely insane Aston Martin styling, there is no doubt in nobody's mind that this thing was pushed in 300. You can find a few examples of the low 6 figures, and they're not dropping yet. Nissan GT-R. The Nissan GT-R is another example of excellent depreciation, and as the values drop down, it becomes more accessible for more people. So specifically, the tuner crowd will find more and more ways to just bring this thing up to 11. And a new with a sticker of over $100,000. This thing is kind of the bargain of the country. Think $40,000 to $50,000 will buy you a decent example, and it's pretty much the same damn car as the brand new one. Now let's get to the heartbeat of the matter, because this thing is pretty much legendary. You can have a twin turbosky V6 that is prone to an immense amount of turbo lag, but the fact that there is such a huge aftermarket for these cars, it's actually not that tough to get this thing close to and pass through the 1,000 horsepower mark, which when you're pushing out 4 figures when you're taking to a pretty much everything, to dinner, to gravel beast, and then you're washing it down down with Gab Daniels. Maybe that's what the G and GT-R stands for Gap anyway. There is no denying that this thing takes modification well, and so yes, there are those enthusiasts out there that want to keep it stock well. Those guys are pretty much out luck with the R35 GT-R because the GT-R just doesn't really hold its value and they tend to depreciate heavily in the first few years. Jaguar F-Type. It is a total thing of beauty, and even though a new one was just released, it's essentially a glorified facelift of the model that they sold in 2013, and that it isn't actually really a bad thing because these things looks absolutely incredible. And yes, they have blown V6 and V8s, the fire-breathing 575 horsepower that sounds absolutely orgasmic, and this thing is the whole deal. And not only does it look a part, the Jag sounds like a spawn of Satan with an exhaust note that can send chills down your spine. And however, if you're shopping the used market, yeah, and you're in luck because just like pretty much every other Jaguar that's ever graced this planet, our friend, the appreciation has not been very kind to the F-Type because early examples have already dropped below the $30,000 mark. And if you look hard, like really hard, you might even be able to find a supercharged V6 with a ZF6 speed manual in that price range. BMW i8. If you're the kind of person that prepares something with a sharp interior and most modern aesthetic look possible, and you might be a little bit shallow, so you need some billionaire doors, well, BMW is there for you, and calling the BMW i8 a supercar is quite the stretch. But hold on, because guess that it looks the part of when the i8 came out in 2014. It was one of those cars that got attention everywhere. It went, and still today, it still does, and it might be the outer space look, or those laser LED lights, or maybe even that BMW for some reason. This is the type of car that makes even non-car people stare at it. That's a good thing because the i8 doesn't have any crazy V8 or V12. In actuality, it's got a little 3-cylinder scooter motor in it, and that thing's paired to an electric motor, and so you would call it a plug-in hybrid. And while it does drive pretty well, it definitely no more dramatic or wild to drive than say a 4 Series, and if you think things are more fun topless, it does come all as a roadster as well as a coupe. And since it is a plug-in hybrid system, you can go 20 miles just on the electric power. The only problem is that the price will roast you because it can do 4 times as much as your i8 does. But you don't buy an i8 to run on electric, but you buy it to show up in style. And it did cost a lot of brand new, about $150,000 to do just that, and that is a fallen victim to the curve because it's a prime example of early technology going absolute over time. Bentley Continental GT. Let's take a visit back to Great Britain, where some of the most memorable cars of time are born, specifically Bentley, which is no stranger to depreciation, and the Continental GT is one of the most timeless cars ever. Bentley's Continental GT has had a very good run, and it's been around in various different forms since the mid-2000s, and the power plant for the Continental GT comes with 2 different colors. You get the V8 and the V12, and both of them are boosted, and as of the late share a ton of componentry with the latest from the Audi, and yes, the new ones are quite spendy, where with options you can easily pass $200,000 mark, but early examples from over a decade ago are starting to float at the bottom of the barrel. Yes, some are transacting from under $20,000. In some cases, that's less than 10 of the actual MSRP, which is insane and an incredible price to pay for a twin-turbosky V12 monster with a flying V on the hood. So what are your thoughts about the topic? Do you think this video is useful? Please let me know by leaving a comment down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, turn on the notification bell, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for stopping by to watch. See you on our next video.